The Dice Odyssey!
Hey there folks, welcome back to the Dice Odyssey. I'm Kaz, and today I was just kind of thinking about what are my favorite kinds of dice that I like to roll. You know, like what feels good in your hand, what do you feel like rolls the best, and in general what your tastes are. I got several sets of dice here that I was thinking about showing you and seeing what you thought, seeing if you've maybe played with some of these yourself. So for example, do you like rolling standard D6s? You know what I mean? You like how they roll? You know, here at the Dice Odyssey, we love dice. And the fact is that, you know, if a game doesn't have dice, and I'm not saying this is a guarantee, it requires a little bit more for me to enjoy it fully. Now, I'm not saying I don't, like I said. But I really love games with dice. They always get me. Something about having dice. I mean, granted, I know they're random, and I know not every single person loves them. A friend of mine, she's not a huge fan of dice. You know, even though one of her favorite games is Catan. That's what always, that's what always got me about that. I'd be talking with her, and she's like, "Well, I don't really like playing games like this, that, or the other. But you know, I do love Catan. As they have dice and they've got randomness. I'm not a fan, so you know." But you know, it is what it is. What about Fantasy Flight's X-Wing dice? Those kind of polyhedral feel to them. How well do they roll? Do you like the feeling of those in your hands, right? I personally like them. I think I do like something other than standard D6s. They're fun. Just something about them makes you feel good, right, when you roll them. Or let's say King of Tokyo. These massive beasts right here. And if you're wondering why I've got multicolored, it's because some of those are special dice. Some of these are the ones that I ordered with the Halloween expansion, which I would highly recommend if you get King of Tokyo, the older printing, not the newest one. I don't know if they're going to release a Halloween expansion with that, but hey, you get some amazing dice, and the cool thing is you get two sets of dice to pass around the table, so you're not sitting here just stuck going, let me give it to you, let me give it to you. No, that side of the table gets their set, this side of the table gets their set, and that's just the way it's going to be. Ah, yes. Love big, giant, chunky dice. Something about giant, chunky dice makes me feel good. Just, I don't know what it is. It's that, something about that tactile texture, that extra weight in your hands. You know what I mean? For me, that is a good handful of dice. Or, what about, I don't know, dice with multiple different types? You know, you got 20 side, 30 side, I think 10 side in there, and this is going to be your Formula D dice. I don't know if you can see those, but, you know, if you're switching gears in the game, like it's like actual real car, when you're switching gears, you switch a gear and then you change the die that you're rolling. I personally think that's really cool. I love these sets of dice. I love the fact that they're multiple colors. It's very easy to figure out which ones you're supposed to go with, especially when it comes to the gears. But again, in my hand, granted, you're not going to roll all these at once, but I just love it, man. I love being able to roll a multitude of dice, and you know, they're all different at all times. I really, really like that. So yeah, the only one I would say that I'm not a huge fan of personally is this thing, this pyramid-shaped die. I don't know. I mean, granted, it's not supposed to roll well. It's kind of like, you know, when you roll it just rolls flat. You know, it stops on one spot usually. But yeah, I do like the feeling. See, look at there. If you can see it, that pyramid die just stopped right there at the top. Didn't even jump with the rest of them. See, I told you I'm not a huge fan of this one, but I get the reason it's in there, right? A smaller dice, for example. I really like the Dice Masters dice. You know, this is just going to be mainly like special dice, pawn dice, whatever you want to call it. I don't have a lot of character dice in here, but I do like the feel of these. I like the size of them. Now, typically, I do tend to go for more a larger set of dice in general. I'm a large guy, what can I say? And I have large hands, so it's nice to have a little bit chunkier dice in these hands because I feel like I'm holding something. unless I get a lot of characters out on the field in Dice Masters, and I've got a lot to roll to slam my friends with and destroy them with, you know. If you only have, like, say, 2 of these dice in hand, it's just not as fun for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, game's fun. Game's really great. But I really like having, you know, just add in, you know, 20 more, and I'd be loving to roll these things. And they especially go very nicely out of my dice tower. And funny enough, I use this dice tower during Dice Master sessions sometimes. If I've got the room to set it on the table, that joker is going to be on the table. So that's another set of dice I particularly like. I don't know about you, but the size doesn't bother me. Now, I'll tell you what. When it comes to Roll for the Galaxy, I don't know if you've ever played it. I will do a review on that soon at some point. But this game, in particular, has got these very tiny dice. I mean, these suckers are even smaller, if you look, than the actual Dice Master dice. I mean, it's not by much, but it's even smaller. And quite frankly, I didn't think they could get much smaller than the Dice Master dice. Do I like rolling these? Well, yes and no. I like rolling them if I have more than just a couple in my hands, right? I like rolling them. Again, I like the tactile feel of a full hand of dice. You know, it's almost, I say this jokingly, it's almost like that Warhammer 30K where you have that bucket of dice and it's just something cool and a good feeling about rolling a billion dice on the table, it feels like. In the same way, somewhat, I kind of like having a full hand of these Roll for the Galaxy dice. If there's only a couple, it's just not as fun for me. But and again, they go very nicely out of that dice tower. Oh, and by the way, I love this dice tower. I've got a video on that if y'all want to see my thoughts on this and certain things. I love the chains on this thing, and I love how the magnet pulls them back together. And if you've got dice in there and you got a ton of them, you don't want to just keep scooping them out, just drop them, just like I did with those. Or we could go with the big kahuna. This joker is a 20-sided die, and I am not about to drop that fully into my dice tower. As you can tell, it's just not going. Do I like rolling this die? Absolutely. Look how big that joker is, right? I told you I like big chunky dice. Not only can you peg your friend with this thing if he's getting out of hand and lying to you at the table, kind of like in a game of Resistance. You know who you are. You know, and I get mad enough and I toss it at your face. No, I'm kidding. But I also like using this to decide, you know, first player goes and things like that. So, for example, if I roll it 5, my buddy gets a 6, he's going to be the first player in a game. So, really, that's one of the main reasons I have this die, besides, you know, violently harming somebody. Of course, I'm joking on that, so don't comment to me on that. But, yeah, I really do love a giant 20-sided die. Not a whole ton of uses for it besides what I just said. Maybe there's some people that make better use of it than I do, but hey, it's just nice to have in my collection. And it goes up top on the top of my shelf. So anyway, that's just my musings on dice. Just love them, and love the different types. And I especially love having, like I say, a dice tray where I can roll my dice. Oh, speaking of which, there's another Roll for the Galaxy. Huh. I probably have a bunch of dice in here that are mixed together. They shouldn't be with one another, but hey, dice are dice. Love to roll them. So anyway, thanks for watching me just muse on. Thanks so much for watching the Dice Odyssey. That's going to be all for me. I'm Kaz. We appreciate you. You have a blessed day, and game away. Yeah!